Hi, I'm Sean with Carter's Farm Mobile Petting Zoo, and I'm working with chickens.org today, and we're talking about how to feed and water your chickens. Feeding and watering your chickens are very easy, especially at a young age. One of the key components when they're babies is making sure that they have access to food and water the entire time. As they get older, you can have feeding times that allow you to control a little bit more of how they eat and what they're eating, because you do want to utilize the chicken's natural ability to eat the grass, the weeds, and the bugs. And if you feed them nonstop and give them access to food when they're older, they may not do that for you. So you do want to have different feeding times if your goal is to let those chickens do what they naturally do, and that's scratch and hunt for things. I have a couple of things here. This is something you're going to find if you have stores available. These are both great at being able to feed chickens. This would be for their feed. It allows them to not scratch that feed as easily because they have a natural tendency to scratch to look for food. And they can be standing on food when they do it. They'll scratch and spread that food all over the pen, sometimes utilizing it if it gets in water to be no good. So we use different things like this. This is what you can get if you have a store. This would be for water. It unscrews, you fill it up, you put your top on, and it just allows enough water to come out that, again, they can't really splash it or realistically when they're younger fall in it and drown. Those are the big things that you have to worry about when we're talking about feeding chickens. So when they're younger, food nonstop and water all day long. You should never deprive them of water anyway. You always want to have full water or water source that they can get to automatically. And there's plenty of things you can find at your store that have automatic fills or that you just fill up yourself. Now, not everybody has access to these kind of things. There's lots of ways to do it. Tupperware dishes. You can cut up wood that holds just enough water in there that you can have water. The feed can go directly on the ground. The feed will attract ants and bugs, but they're going to eat that naturally anyway, so you're just bringing more food in. You're swapping one for another. The key thing with the food is you can fill this up as full as you want, have it as low as you want. They're going to scratch it and play with it, no problem. But the water is different. In a dish like this for a baby chicken, they easily can fall into water and drown, and it does not take a lot. So one of the things that I like to do is you take this same container and fill it with rocks. Chickens can eat just about anything as long as it's small enough. So natural table scraps that are of a healthy variety. If you have vegetables, you've got grindies. One of the things that we like to do at the farm is juice. When you take those actual pulp and you can feed that to the chickens, it's very healthy for them and gives them quite a bit. Chickens are not herbivores. They do need meat in their diets. That's where a lot of the bugs come from. So you can feed them different kinds of scraps that do have meat in them, and that is actually okay. Given the opportunity, like I said earlier, chickens will eat a mouse or a rat if it comes through their pen. They'll try to snag it and they'll eat it. Lizards, anything that's larger, what you wouldn't necessarily expect from a chicken, they do like that kind of meat. We primarily feed ours layer feed, and we do a lot of vegetable scraps at the farm, and we let them find their own protein, given the opportunity for bugs and mice that might be trying to steal their food. They'll snag them up if they get the opportunity. So the amount of feed that you want to give a chicken is going to vary based on how many chickens you have. One of the common rules of thumb is not leaving so much food out that they're going to stop eating and leave a bunch of leftover on the ground, because then it becomes wasted or it brings other animals in like mice or rats to actually come and try to take that food and save it for themselves. So you want to check with the amount of chickens you have and see how much they eat. A couple times a day, you can sprinkle what we call scratch grains. And that's going to actually stimulate the chickens. It's not meant for laying. It's not meant to give them anything. It's more of a treat, but it allows them to scratch and keep their natural instincts while still looking for food. You'll spread that out. They'll come running, and that also helps you train your chickens to come when you walk outside, so they become part of the family, and you can put them back in their pen the same way. Using some of that feed is going to put them back in where they'll be safe at night from any natural predators that might be out there trying to get your chickens. On behalf of Carter's Farm and chickens.org, thank you very much for hanging out with us today and learning a little bit more about chickens and what you can do to have chickens at home. And don't forget to send us your videos right here that you have of your chickens. We'll post them if they make the cut, and we want to see what you have going on your farm.